Peace and blessings. Wagwan. I am Chi Vital, aka King Chi, and I'm back with another tool for your toolkits. I am coming to you live from the Tactical Park. Shouts out to everybody out in Maryland. I am in the woods, and I decided to incorporate some of my own personal practices while bringing you a really off-the-cuff info session, Q&A, to prepare you all for this winter solstice. Last time we met, I was talking to you all to get you prepared for this full moon that is coming up, and I'm hoping that you are connecting the dots and making it all make sense in one beautiful picture. This live is supported by that kind of energy that I told you is available to you right now. So shouts out to this PowerPoint where the river is making lots of magic right now. It is really cold. I'm probably gonna put on my gloves in the middle of this live, but yeah, there's no script here. I want to really just jump in. What is this 21-day destiny reset all about? You know, we talk about destiny, we talk about karma, we talk about all of these things, all of these human adventures connected to life. Why are we here? Why do we do the things that we do? And how life is unfolding. And when it comes down to the winter solstice and the practices that we teach you all, myself, in a sort of terrain, it's more than an unfolding. Okay? It's definitely more than an unfolding. And I want to get more into that and what that's all about. So, welcome to my studio today, out in nature, supported by a vine, holding up the camera. You know, I'm in partnership, I'm in harmony with the trees and such. Light up the chat with your snowflakes. Y'all thought I was kidding. Press 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly and see me clearly, because I'm not on the Wi-Fi today. I'm just on outside today. Alright, cool. I hooked up the little microphone, you feel me? Alright. So a lot of people put an emphasis on the actual solstice day, the 21st, because it is the time of year that is going to mark where we are going into the winter. We are going to be experiencing what is called the death of the sun. Okay? It's the death and the rebirth of the sun. All of this we know is more so connected to us, our soul, and having a moment to reflect on the time that has gone by. It's a natural thing. Like, I know that we talk about it so much that it seems like a concept, like a new age concept, but it's a natural thing that nature has taught us in life, okay, to do. And the interesting part about it is that it's not necessarily a time where it's your death and rebirth of your soul all at one time. Like, death is a process. Death and rebirth is a longer process, which is why this particular time of year is so important, because it speaks to the time of next year where you're actually going to reveal to the world what you have actually accomplished over this particular portion of time. What's so dope about the energy is that it's so concentrated with the essence of soul reflection, of certain powers within the earth that we live in. Even if you're walking the concrete jungle, you are still tapping into a powerful foundation. This particular time of year brings us to not just reflecting on what we did and what we didn't do and who's talking about who and who I'm not talking to anymore. It's not just a mundane reflection. You have to become more aware of the content, the category of time that is important right now. Time. We're going into Saturn's realm. Saturn. Time is important. Foundation is important. So a lot of BS could have occurred all year long since the spring of 2025. But what you want to reflect on now is not the little distractions or even the bigger distractions without a particular goal in mind, a particular focus. Your focus now has to be on foundation. What are your 4 pillars? What are the legs that your life is standing on right now? Okay? This particular time of year says strip away all of, for us, strip away all of the glitz and the glam. Strip away all of the extra, the excess, and get down to the bones of what is behind everything that you are, everything that you're doing, everything that you believe in. Okay? Notice all of the archetypes and all of the word is connected like to innuendos, the bones, the structure, the foundation, the traditions. Okay? Now, all of these things are connected to Saturn. Pardon me, but you're probably going to have to fight with my abundant fountain. Clearly, I love to teach next to bodies of water because I'm outside of the house and I'm still teaching with water in the background. So I hope that you can stick around with me. But thank you for letting me know if the sound goes in and out. I appreciate that. Now, someone mentioned, and I'm glad they did because it's triggering a response I had to a couple of videos that were coming up for me. Being that I am continuously developing the self-mastery of who I am, I noticed this trend, right? Someone said you're finding your why. Okay, finding your why. And what I have found to be exhausting and it becomes a little boring is that there are so many people so focused on finding your why that when they get some traction, they keep telling everyone about their why. And then that why continues to be the same why all the time. So every time you hear their story, it's, you know, before I got to this place of fame and making billions of dollars, I once was 500 pounds. And I looked at myself in the mirror and realized, you know, after being locked up for 10 years, going back and forth to juvie, and I had to do something with my life. And I said to myself, I'm gonna lose this weight, and that was my why. I had to live for something bigger, something better, right? But it's the same story. It's the same story over and over and over and over again. And the reason why you keep hearing the same story over and over and over again is because most of those individuals who have found some kind of success, they have found one particular thing that gets other people who have no idea what the frick they want to do with themselves to buy something from them. But what they don't realize is that folks like us who are watching are going to notice that they have not grown beyond that one time in their lives that they were inspired to do something different. And the only way you can tap into doing something different is, one, if you have evolved, two, if you have taken risk to do something new, and three, if you have explored your entire self beyond the duality of like this right or wrong, because we are so much more than that. There's so many different flavors of life that you can actually live if you allow yourself to realize that that one particular time in your life that punched you in the throat to do something different, it served a purpose, but it did not define what your life's purpose was going to be. It served a purpose for a particular time period in your life. And if you're really living life, there will be another time in your life where you can be exposed to, inspired by, or decide you just want to do something different. This particular winter solstice, I implore you to be courageous enough to explore other options for your life that are not founded in trauma, that are not founded in scarcity, that is not founded in repetition. Let me get some ashes in the chat if I'm busting your head open with, oh, like, okay, wait, choices, right? Like, somebody needed to remind you all that it's not just about the destiny that was given to you. It's not just about the storylines and the background that you came from. And it's not just about the times where you trip and you bust up your kneecaps. There is an infinite being within yourself that has memories beyond your past lives that take you far into a future you could not even imagine willfully. That is like a cornucopia of things to taste. Now, granted, life here is very intoxicating. And so it can block your vision from seeing beyond the dreams that either show you some psychological things that you're trying to work through, or short-term premonitions, or imagination that is fueled by commercials that you see, social media ads, vacations that you've never been on. You know, like the same kind of things. Like people pretty much, you know, they have like this limited view that to them, without really taking a step back, seems very, very vast. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like a little dot. Alright? So this 21-day meditation, that time period is important. And we'll go through the esoteric steps. You know, what meditations, what sounds, what particular stage that the sun is in match to your soul. But underneath it, you need to understand what you're doing. So I started with preparing you all to put more time into meditating in silence. Forget the mantras, forget the sounds, forget the bowls, forget the everything, just silence. Right? And it's like it's the hardest level, it's the hardest meditation, it's the most simplest meditation, but it's the hardest meditation. Everyone in here who's ever tried to meditate, whether you're a brand new beginner or you're a seasoned vet in meditation, will tell you silent meditation is tough. And I swear the smarter you are, is the tougher it can be. Now there's silent meditation, and I just want to emphasize again, silent meditation. There is nothing silent about our live bodies. Okay? Our blood makes sounds. Our breath makes sounds. Our gut makes sounds. Okay? Fabric rubbing across our skin makes sounds. Our teeth touching each other makes sounds. Little gases in your body, they make sounds. And it becomes louder in conjunction with the thoughts that start running across your mind when you just silence yourself. Now, why is it that there's two particular ways of getting closer to that silence faster and being able to maintain it for longer? There's two mechanisms. Okay? What's the first most powerful mechanism for jumping into silent meditation? And when I say mechanism, it's thank you. I'm glad I didn't have to explain. Thank you, Nagamoon child. The breath. If you've been binge watching, then you know that the breath is the key. The breath is the key. The breath is the key that opens the door to the infinite abyss. The breath is the key that allows us to cross over into the other realm, the unseen realm. The breath is what brings us out of the abyss into the earth realm. The breath is also what will take us from the earth realm back into the abyss. So this particular horizon, this line between life and death, is controlled by the breath. And when we start to tap into the breath, simply just by paying attention to the inhalation and the exhalation, it awakens our primal instincts. Those primal instincts still exist within us without the influences of our life's comforts. So our primal instincts still have us attuned to basic survival. Make sense? So when we start listening and just tuning into the breath, this is before we even manipulate the breath with any form of pranayama. This is just a mindful breathing technique. Paying attention to what's happening as you breathe in, paying attention to what's happening as you breathe out. The rising and falling of your chest. The tightness or the expansiveness of your lungs. Okay? By doing that, it's like the warm-up to jumping in and out of a cold pool. Shouts out to India, shouts out to Poland. Okay? Because you're warming yourself up. You're getting yourself into this mode where your brain is going, okay, you're paying attention to the breath. What's happening? I need to be aware. What's happening? And when we start to pay attention to the breath, deep within the psyche is going, are we paying attention to life? Is life being threatened? Are we good? And so thoughts start rushing forward and your life starts going in front of your face, right? In your mind's eye, the first distraction is that life just starts like coming forward. Like all the shit, like, okay, I didn't fix my car. Okay, I need to sign those paperwork. Is my insurance paid? Okay, when is rent due? How much money is in my bank account? Everything starts coming up. Once your brain goes, okay, so we're good, we're alive, we're sitting here, and you start to slowly pay attention to, or not pay attention to, control how much breath you're going to take in and how much breath you're going to breathe out. That first technique of breathing in, and your set point being, I'm going to breathe in as much oxygen as I can in one breath. And once I feel that I am satiated, I'm full of breath, I'm going to slowly release that breath back out into the space. And I'm going to breathe that breath out all the way until I feel like I'm empty. I have nothing else to give. So we're taking our bodies from 0 to 100 on purpose. So filling up our bodies to the point where the body is like, I don't need any more breath. It hurts. That's enough. Right? Because our lungs are like balloons, right? We only have but so much capacity. And you can change that capacity. But initially, you know, we all have our own set point. So once you get all the way full, you immediately get a response. I'm full. Your entire being gets a chance to experience what is fullness. What is fullness? What is satisfaction? What is, this is enough for me? What is your particular limitation? Okay? How much life force can you take in? Following that, and you want to do it slowly, okay? Because the outside environment is a different temperature, it's a different quality than what's on the inside. And so you want to take that breath in very slowly. And the same way, you want to exhale very slowly so that you can become aware of, while you're observing, what happens when you get to the bottom of that breath, where you hit the empty, so you think, okay? When you hit that empty point, what exactly is happening in your body? Do you convulse? Do you panic? Or do you relax? And that's all going to be determined by how much you're training yourself to be able to go back and forth in between the unseen realm, the abyss, and the living realm on earth. Okay? When you do this practice for the very first time, most people panic. And the reality is that we are so intelligently designed that we won't actually get rid of all of the breath. Because if we were able to give up all of the breath, we would collapse our lungs. So when we get to that end point, now that I've given you that information, if you relax your body, you'd have a little extra breath to release. Okay? So, once you have this experience, you have to understand how powerful it is to recognize that this physical self is doing everything possible simply for breath to live. It's just to live. Because without the breath, this whole physical form falls away. Okay? So master your breath, master your life. Master your breath, master your life. Now, Chidaki, why is that important? How is this even related to this 21-day reset? Why are we doing, a destiny reset? Why aren't we just doing a life reset, like what direction we're going in? Okay, because once you are tapping into your breath, you want to utilize this energy right now to write your story the way that you want it to be. And when people are tapping into this formula, it's a formula that works, of writing their particular story the way that they see it becoming, the way that they see it as it is in their mind's eye during this period of time. They do more writing of a life that is not repetitious. They move now into a space where the life that they are looking to build a foundation for is not based on a trauma response. It's not based on what your mother and father did. It's not what you were taught before. It comes from a place of creating your own paradise. Someone's paradise, think of it. Paradise is compared to something that is completely new, never been touched, is virgin, it's perfect. So it's different from just like, all right, so this is what I did in the last 10 years, and so here's my 10-year plan of how I'm going to do based off of that. It's not that. It's literally creating a very brand new start point for your life based on what would be more perfect for you. Because a lot of the discomforts that we experience is that we are a blend of what came before us, and we are also the brand new consciousness. The brand new consciousness is constantly being dragged back by the things that created it. Because the things that created it created you in order for it to continue fixing and working out whatever it is they didn't get to do. And so it can end up taking up some of, well, a lot of your actual creativity and livity, like how you're living. And you end up being like them because you want to pass on your consciousness so your consciousness can get to finish out doing what it never got to do. So the more you tap into this particular energy during the winter solstice, you start to break away from that karmic wheel. You break away from that imprisonment and allow yourself to step out of the wheel and create a whole nother direction. You're going on a whole different path as opposed to being on the hamster wheel of life. And from there, you're able to create your own wheel, your own destiny, your own reality, your own storyline and bloodline. And then hopefully those who come after you, they decide to do the same thing. And that's how we get all of these different universes. That makes sense? Now, it requires courage, because a lot of times when we find that we're good at something, we get complacent and we figure, well, I'm so good at that, I'm just going to keep on doing that thing. But it's honestly more of a more fear speaking in those moments than courage. And it doesn't give you credit for those times where you were forced to start over. You know, a lot of people, that's why I said I'm starting to get irritated with the whole, like, oh, my story and this is what made me change my life, da da da. It's the same story. I think I've shared my story, one of my stories, like twice in all of my social media presence. I think at one time I shared this whole story about look at me. I think, okay, so this story was about when I got to be on food stamps for the first time, and all the way, like welfare, not just like food stamps, because there's levels to this. There's levels, okay? I'm talking about cash. I was on welfare, and I've shared that story. But like, let's look at how I had to actually look for the story, because two things happened. One, the main thing, people usually tap back into their particular story that they sell because there's an emotional connection to it. You know what I'm saying? There's an emotional like breakthrough that they felt during that time, so it's real easy to tap in. It's like, oh, that time in my life. I'm not emotionally attached to that portion of my life any longer. And so the response is like, what was that triggering moment in my life? Okay. So yeah, that's not it anymore. Why? Because I have lived a lot of different lives since that particular time. Okay? So that's an example. And I think I said there was two things. So one, there's an emotional attachment. And the second thing was, I have an aversion to putting a lot of energy into repeating the things that were harmful or like hurtful in life. Not to suppress it, but it's like if I did the work to dig it up, to cry it out, to write it out, to burn it, to drown it, to rewrite it, it's not something I want to keep on putting sound power behind. And so there's like like people who are trained for special ops, and it's like, this is some top secret information. It can change the trajectory of this mission being accomplished. So no matter how much they beat you, no matter how much they torture you, don't say anything. And like, life is fine, and then you come across the opposition, and they start asking you these questions, and like, yeah, it can't even come out because you've been trained like, that's done. It doesn't exist. The best way to keep a secret is for it to just not exist in your mind anymore. Okay? The lies have no power, right? You gotta, I don't understand your question. But if you reword the question, I'll answer you. Alright? So, this is why I'm the kind of person where, I've heard so many different types of stories of you all, but what do I tell my clients when we're having a conversation? Look, we're having this conversation right here and now, but I'm not holding on to it. So I'll be the last person to carry your story somewhere else, because I'm like a computer, right? We're all like computers. So why would I want to load up my motherboard with like pointless information and slow down my processing system? I'm a vessel. I channel. I stream consciousnesses from very far outside of this universe. I like to keep my data fresh. Keep my RAM clear. Okay? So that the information can come through, do what it has to do, and be out. Okay? Keep the information clutter free. So like, there's like basic practices where when people want to gossip and like dump information on you, you're like, no judgment, but that information is not even useful to me. I have no judgment about it. It's not my business. I'm just gonna shift gears and we can talk about something else, if you will. Okay? On a higher note, if you're really trying to get to know other entities that are bodiless, they're bodiless not just because they don't have skin and bones anymore, but they're more of a frequency of information. And in order for you to align with the frequency of information, you have to like really clear yourself out, which is why fasting helps us get clearer communication from the bodiless entities. Levels of fasting get us even closer and more quick to have this communication. Okay? Make sense? Even with mourning, I've been learning how to deal with it in a similar way, not to let it process and not dwell in it. Yeah, so like his grieving, mourning, grieving. I know a lot about that, right? So another time in my life where it was like a crossroads moment, it was like, oh, like what the hell? Was when my mom passed, because it was sudden, and it came at a point in time where I already was dealing with a bunch of stuff, and I decided to seek guidance from God right before it happened. And for a long time I didn't even realize how that particular instance in life kicked me into another direction and literally left my consciousness with that life attached to all of what I thought life was going to be with her in the very same space where it happened. This is a really deep thing that I'm sharing with you all. And the only reason why I was able to tap into it, I'm just giving you a little bit of that whole thing. It's very deep, and, you know, maybe we'll fireside chat it up for the Winter Solstice pajama party. Okay? But the only way I was able to even see where particular life began, because life for us is not just when we were given birth to. Every time we go through a major life transition or transformation, certain major relationships, marriages are over, giving birth to children, losing a very significant family member. These are points in time where how you envision life has totally changed. Because imagine if you didn't have that child, your life was going in a particular direction. Now, it's not to say that you won't get to that particular point in time, but the way there is going to be different now because you have a responsibility. You may, when people get married, in their mind, they're going to be living this particular life, making choices with this person, so the choices are going to be about both people. So when that's done, right? Hey, what's up, bro? My big brother's on the live. What up, yay? Okay? All of the choices that you were going to be making, they were all related. Okay? They were related to that particular commitment. So once that changes, so does all of the other choices. There's a domino effect, but we're not mindful or aware of what all of those different changes are going to be, because we didn't even get up there. We didn't get to that space. We didn't plan for it. So this time period of the 21 days is not just jumping right into how can I rewrite my destiny, how can I reset my destiny. It's more, you have to go through a process of filtering out the things that are related to all of what you thought you were going to be, all of the things that you thought you wanted to be, what you were going to do, where that came from, so that you can get in tune with that consciousness that is brand new. Because remember, you have all of the lineage of your mother, all the lineage of your father together, whether you know them or not. They are living and breathing through you. You are a seedling of them. And together they came together and made a third. That third piece is just you. And nature supports us during this time because it gets more quiet for you to spend more time with the just you. Just you. Not your mom, not your dad, just you. Not your kids, not your pets, not anything else, just you. And just you has a message for you. In order for you to have this kind of communion with just you, you got to be consistent. And yes, there are particular sounds that help to get you there more quickly, which is why I decided to remind everyone, all of my new people who are here, all of my old people who've been squad, that I have a 21-day meditation that's already formulated to get you there during your meditations, where all you have to do is be listening and just focus on your breathing. You don't do anything but just breathe, and that's it. Breathe and listen. Now, because we continue to evolve, Terrain and I are doing our Winter Solstice pajama party. If you were cleared to attend, you're going to have one of the most profound experiences of your entire life. Because we're going to explore some really powerful secrets of the night when it comes to the Winter Solstice energy. And now is the time that you prepare for that. Okay? Note that if your mother was broke, your father was broke, and you have dreams of being a multi-millionaire, it's not that it's not possible. You just got to get to you and let them go. You got to get to you. You have to be in communion with who you are. Because whatever you've been doing lately that has not led you to that point in time has more to do with them. That particular consciousness and that ambition that you have to succeed in a whole nother light of life and prosperity is yours. It belongs to you. And this is where I'm going to move you away from this. I want to find my why. Because if you're looking for a why, you're going to consistently be looking for some type of motivation. And if we want to move beyond basic human behavior, where we're always looking for something to be a hot rod that just pokes us in our side, pokes us and goes, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Once you got to get clear about what it is that you want to do. And remember what I said in my last live. Forget about your why. Create a system around what is going to work to get you there. You know what I'm saying? I was looking for that question because somebody asked something about a lie. I wasn't sure if he was talking about like these, like the affirmations, or like what people around you might say is possible. You know what I mean? But yeah, you have any questions? What y'all think about all of this? What I'm talking about? So how y'all feeling? How y'all feeling about this winter solstice? Because it's been pretty turned up. Yeah, I see a lot of people say they've been craving silence. Yeah. The silence that you're craving is the same thing that these trees are doing. The same thing that they're doing. When they're blossoming and blooming, that's when they're making noise. Even the fact that they drop their leaves, think about it. Right? When they got on all their leaves and they're looking bright, bushy, sap is leaking, what happens? All the birds come, all the insects come, all the people come wanting to climb and take pictures, and it attracts everybody. Right? It attracts all the noise because they're in the mood for noise. They're talking. They're doing a whole lot of talking. But when they drop their leaves, it's like they're doing this. Alright, I'm checking out. I did my thing. You know what I'm saying? I gave my fruit. I supported the animals. I provided some fun and shelter. Alright, I'm out. And what it's doing now is deep down in the earth is doing this. It's whatever precipitation is just pulling it deeper, 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 deeper. It's going deeper within itself. It's taking a moment to say, like, I don't care what you need. I don't care what you want. I'm all about myself right now. The most I can get from this tree is to lay back on it. Talk. Give some of my body heat to the earth itself. And allow its wisdom of self-fullness, self-ishness. Right? See these trees next to the river? Let me show y'all. Deep down, see the roots? Where they going? They already locked in. They get in their water. Food already set up. Nutrients getting nice and concentrated. It's going deep, 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 deep down. It's not moving for nobody. And trees move. Y'all do realize that trees move, right? But right now, you're being in meditation. They in minding my business mode. Just minding my business. Let me see this question. Should we only consume what Asura told us? Because I have a high metabolism. Yeah. Of course. He knows what he's talking about. Just because you have a high metabolism does not mean that you have to consume a whole bunch of calories all the time. Think about how much water these trees can take in. Even they slow down because it's not going to be raining like that. It's going to snow eventually on this side. But everything is going to slow down. And in fact, although everyone is going to be eating a whole bunch of food during the holidays, your metabolism slows down during the winter months. The only reason why you would be consuming that much food during this time is because you've been trained to do that. If you were in tune with nature, you would be eating what's available to you. And not a lot of vegetation is available to you during these winter times. Roots are, some ground provisions that have been stored, sure. But you know what you make with those? Soups, tonics, tinctures. These are the types of nutrients that are feeding our blood and our bones. What are my wrenches? Take care of that. Okay, I've been trying to put muscle on. That's why I asked. I'm already slim. I feel you. I feel you. It's not forever. And once you clear yourself out, it's way easier. You understand? It's way easier to build clean muscle. It's not as congested with a lot of fat. Because trying to transform the fat into muscle is harder than actually building up the muscle fibers with better circulation and lean proteins when you get back to it. And then your liver will thank you, because your liver is going to have to process all of the fat burning and all of the other protein additives and supplements that you'll be taking to support your growth. So right now, before you build up muscle, build strength, because the strength is not necessarily in the muscle. The strength is from within. That's why the calisthenics actually build more strength than how much weight you can lift. Strengthen your bones and your joints to support the muscle gain that you're going to have. Make sense? My brother is actually in the chat still, so I mean, bro, am I he trains people. Studying for my trainer and nutritionist, my nutrition search now. I want to work in alignment with nature and foods and seasons. That's dope. If you want to have the edge on your competition, really pay attention to muscle insertions, and pay attention to trace minerals and what is actually necessary, the real nutrients necessary for muscle building and the foods that support it, versus what people in general think. And look into some of the hidden or forgotten foods. I mentioned roots, these barks, these roots, these types of herbs, like the kind of green herbs that are medicine and food that we don't even pay attention to, because they nourish our bones and the bone marrow. The bone marrow is where we get all of the information we need for perfect building. All right. Drinking water with trace minerals now and had chlorophyll water earlier. Exactly. It's just like blue-green algae, your omegas. Our brain is the biggest consumer of carbohydrates in our body. Okay? But blue-green algae and these omegas, they're not only good for circulation, but they're good for neuroplasticity. We want to be able to maximize on our brain capacity and what we have access to. Like, we all have potential, but if you want to really build your body, you want to have more control over what you're going to create. You want to expand what access you have to your brain and what it can do. Like, using your brain in deeper ways burns calories. And it's the source of what you're able to create. So give yourself, pay attention to what you're consuming and do more of the micronutrients, macronutrients, the essentials of what you need. And note that food has a lot of addictive ingredients. So some of the feeling of like, I have to eat, is more so because there's so many neurotransmitters in the food that cause you to be addicted to the act of eating versus what you actually need. Now, this is not, I'm not trying to, you know, some of y'all, I don't know who's watching. I don't know who's watching. So if you have anorexia or bulimia and you're having some type of distorted relationship with what you really look like, and you're starving yourself. Starvation does not mean you're not eating food. Starvation means, like, when we look at things medically, starvation means that you're not receiving the necessary nutrients for muscle, bone health and development. There are people who are fat as I don't know what, who are starving. Okay? Huge. Totally deprived of the necessary nutrients. And that's why they have a lot of dysfunction in their systems. They're not able to process sugars. They need insulin. They're not able to maintain a healthy blood pressure. They can't breathe. You feel me? So this is the set point. This is where we're going to begin. It's December 3rd. Okay? And we're going to be working 21 days straight through to Christmas on meditation and rewriting your destiny. So add some of those other roots into it that give you those trace minerals. Yes. Yes. Especially when you're plant-based, and a lot of the foods, unfortunately, that are growing from this earth that has been overused and improperly turned over. So the foods aren't as rich as they used to be. Because those nutrients come from the soil. If you really wanna see some roots that are good, look into like the Chinese roots, like rhubarb, burdock. They're not just herbs that you make tea with. You can actually make soups with them. Okay? And put moringa in everything. People think like when they're like, let's say when they're juice fasting, that they can just like do juices and it's cold. But it's cold outside. Instead of a bunch of juicing and just teas, you can load up the water with leeks, rhubarb, cilantro, scallions, like roots. You can put ginseng root in there too. And it's clear soup. Clear soup. It doesn't have to have beans in it. It doesn't have to have potatoes in it. Although that, yams, those are root vegetables. Sturdy mushrooms. That's like meat. Yummy. But all right now, y'all. Make sure that y'all, whoever got approved to come to this pajama party, hit me up at 202-810-1876. If you did not get approved yet, if you didn't even hear about our pajama party, we're going to tap in real deep. You need to bring your journal with you. Text the Occult College first. Okay? I have to take care of some rituals right now. And I will get back to everybody today. Okay? Alright, y'all. Peace, love, and bliss. And I will link up with y'all very soon. I'm out.